Quinn, can you believe that we are 2 days away? 2 days! Two from a new Legend of Zelda game.
No, I can't. And I really almost like there's a part of me that wishes we weren't. Like
Yeah, like I just I'm just like, what? I found that out 5 days ago. I'm like,
mhm.
how? Like, how is this coming out already? I don't even understand. I feel like I just haven't even seen anything about this game. It's
Right,
like,
because when it was delayed last year, I was like, well, if it comes out in 2023, it's gonna be it's gonna be Christmas or something.
yeah,
And then, nope, it's
no,
just
the
in
beginning. It
May.
just seems like a weird time. I feel like this is normally like lull season for games, but no, I guess that's why they dropped it. It was ready.
And this period of there there were new releases, but they were all remakes. And so it's not like we were really getting these years long releases of like, oh, I can't believe it's finally here. But then we get Star Wars and then Zelda, and then there's other ones peppered in. And I think Starfield is coming out later this year, and Star Hole is coming out later this year. And
Like,
but yeah, it's just like I'm so not done with Jedi Survivor, like at all.
oh really? Because I beat it for the podcast. I played it religiously and beat it and did most everything. Right?
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I think messed me up with that in a minute when we
having
get
a having a family and a life.
not as much. No, you'd think that's it, but I kind of put them to the side for a while. No, I'm just kidding. Um, I have a theory and I have a few things I want to bring up, but before that, welcome everyone back to the Nerding Grounds podcast. This is a weekly show where we talk about video games, what we're playing, what we used to play, you know, sometimes news. Do you want to talk about news, Matt?
Not really.
Well, it pertains to the thing that you opened the show with. Did
Oh
you hear
well.
about that? Their Tears of the Kingdom leak?
No,
You didn't? Whoa.
no. Yeah, like I'm literally so detached from this game at the moment. It's a little surprising.
I get that. No, it like straight up leaked a week and a half ago. People were playing it. Nintendo went crazy with the DMD
Yeah.
MCA
I mean,
takedowns.
don't
Yes.
don't fuck with Nintendo. They're going to sue. It's not a matter of,
Yeah.
they might, right? I don't know if this like really might anger them. It does. It does. They don't want you to do it. They they're gonna sue you.
Well, apparently they went so hard on the takedowns that they accidentally took one of their posts down.
That, yeah, that makes sense. That's
little,
funny.
little shot in the foot.
Yeah.
But no, people were being copyright striked for like approved footage, like trailer footage and reactions to like Nintendo's actual gameplay previews.
Yeah. See,
So,
not even Nintendo can talk about Nintendo, you know? They'll sue
mhm.
themselves.
Yeah, and like personally, I would never. I don't think I would ever dip into something like that. I don't pirate new games. I don't pirate anything. Wink.
Yeah, I'm surprised that that happened, right?
I mean, people are hungry for it, and from what I understand, the Switch being so long in the tooth, both from a performance aspect, like hardware, but also apparently it's just so goddamn easy to get into the software through the hardware and everything.
Right.
Like it's not only are they not upgrading from a security sense, they're not upgrading to keep their, equipment functioning in the most efficient way these days. So people are
Yeah.
just taking, and I do get wanting to play a new Zelda in 60 frames and 4K and stuff. Like we should be able to get at least closer to that than we are.
Right.
But it's still that just I don't know. That feels icky to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we could go back and forth all day about like it's like, well, piracy does kind of help with like preservation and things
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Which I think is important, you know. I mean, now, sure, I'm sure game development companies keep a hold of their code and stuff, but there's been plenty of examples where they just lose it, threw that shit out, and they can't like remake old games because they don't have any of the stuff anymore for it. They would
yeah. And just
they
to
have to
clarify,
go through piece by piece and remake it, and there's no money in that for them. So
no, unless they release a pixel remaster saga for $90.
yeah, pretty much. But hey, in that case, they already have the old code. They just have to go back through and still do a lot of
Freshen
work,
it up.
but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
but not nearly
freshen
as
it
much.
up.
Especially not that much work for the turnaround.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, and to clarify, I am all for emulation and pirating old games, especially Nintendo. Steal from corporations, steal all the time, as much as you possibly can. Do it in the name of the nerding grounds.
I just want to say that Quinn's statement has nothing to do with the Nerding Ground podcast. Uh,
LLC. No, but like, especially with Nintendo, who are notorious for being anti-preservation by, shutting down all their eShops and
yeah.
and selling things in outrageously priced bundles, or like coming out with a Mario All-Stars trilogy and then inexplicably making it not for sale ever again. Like that's super weird.
Yeah, it is really weird. It's like, especially when you shut down the eShop or whatever. I mean, what are you going to do with all that stuff?
Right.
It should definitely go somewhere. You know what I mean?
Well, and people immediately, I mean, they already were working on, those catalogs. I mean, you can find pretty much everything through PS3, mostly PS3 and Xbox 360. That stuff is still in need of work. But you can find all those catalogs of pretty much everything wherever you go to get your ROMs. But when the eShop recently shut down, people just went absolutely wild with jailbreaking their 3DSs and their Wii U's, which is not hard to do. It's something that's on my list, and it can ensure that you don't miss out on all those titles that, let's say, are really complicated to emulate. And it'd be much better to have it on like the original hardware instead of like trying to emulate it on
Right.
your computer and getting half of the experience.
Not suggesting anybody do that. Winky blinky.
But if they make it hard for you and you don't have a choice, well, here you are. Here we
Yeah,
are.
I mean, there is no other option. That being said, stealing the new Zelda a week before it comes out seems
Yeah,
really,
no.
really dumb, right?
I don't like that. The only thing I can see is like if someone had it, if someone purchased it and then went and tinkered around with a thing, but also you're getting the wrong attention. It's hard enough to emulate old stuff without people scouring the internet to try and shut that stuff down. If you're emulating like the newest games, that's going to get all kinds of attention and it's kind of
Yeah.
putting the entire operation at risk.
Yeah, I really think that's why Nintendo is the way that they are. They just do
Hmm.
a full blanket, like, hey, we're not gonna do like black and white and this is gray. You can do this, but you can do that, and we're not. You can't do that, but we're just you can't do anything. We're gonna sue for anything and everything.
Anything and
Nothing's
everything.
allowed, right?
Nothing is allowed.
Which I guess makes sense in a business standpoint, right? You don't have to really worry about the whole,
Yeah, yeah. But let us play
what
your
is allowed,
games.
right? Like what is allowed and how far did we let it go?
Right, exactly. And the one thing I don't have sympathy for in this is like what is why is a Nintendo Switch in such a compromised place? It's really irritating. Like, I did think about, like, I have two Joy-Con that are not doing great, and I'm like, what if I just traded in the whole ass system and got an OLED
Yeah.
for like half the price? But I don't. It just doesn't seem like the. It's not the upgrade I ever wanted, and I still have it in the back of my mind. There's going to be a new system at some point. I'm going to regret getting the. I don't know. It's just. It's such an awkward
Yeah.
position to be in. Like they could have released the OLED in, with at least some better processing.
It seems very odd that they don't have like a pro version. The only thing that I could possibly think why they wouldn't do that is because developers will probably just start like optimizing or doing stuff where you have to have that version, right? Because I mean they already push things to the max. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not like
Nintendo
a.
could probably put like a cap on it somehow. Be like, hey, you can't, you know, just here's like the baseline. Here's like a game that doesn't really run too well on the
Mhm.
old Switch, but on this one runs great. You don't want to go any more than this, right?
Yeah, I could see that because it could be like a. All right, you gave us a little boost. Now we don't have to cater to the previous Switch anymore.
Yeah, we're gonna
Um,
ride to this advanced version, but I don't
yeah,
I don't know.
and you definitely never want a library splitter in your
No,
console. Um,
no.
I know
And it
PS4
seems
had an awkward situation with that too.
yeah. It seems odd to do it like this late in the life cycle too now. Like
No, just make
I
it
don't
two.
yeah. And you're better off just coming out with the new Switch, but
A
I,
switcheroo.
yeah, switcheroo. Backwards compatible, there you go. Done.
Do you like the DS Lite? There's a little Switch cartridge slot in the bottom.
Ah yeah. Yeah.
We're well beyond. Like, I love Nintendo's hardware, but I love Nintendo's old hardware too. Like I miss the days of wacky things like we're gonna put a Game Boy Advance in this DS. It's like
This is
yes, that's
super
exactly
cool,
what I
yeah.
want.
Yeah, that's literally exactly what I want.
Or we're gonna attach a. It's always Game Boy Advance stuff. We're gonna attach a Game Boy Advance to the bottom of this goddamn um, GameCube.
So I mean it's clear that Nintendo thinks about these wacky sort of instant cases, right? Instance. Uh like, what if people want to play Game Boy Advance games on their DS, right? We're gonna make this new thing. Let's just, put a Game Boy thing in it. There you go. Done. Bam.
I think the issue with the Switch is while they did make a system that was supposed to not be held back by like the Nintendo shortcomings. Because even the Wii U, it's like yes, that was an HD console, and they did have, and the Wii and the Wii U both released games that were on the Sony and Microsoft consoles. But it was never in a way like with the Switch where it was like, no, everything's going to be on this. Indie games, new releases, And then as we keep going on, we're putting the bigger games on. I don't think they expected, or maybe they just didn't perceive like the rate at which things were going to advance by 2023.
I don't know. I
But
I mean, I feel like it just comes down to a. I mean, there's definitely been some big leaps. That's for sure.
yeah,
Surprisingly, um, but I lost my train of thought. I think
Pichu.
it is like the cheapest option of the systems, right? Like it's $200.
Yeah.
You know, that is actually really really cheap when you think about it for some hardware that exists out there,
Well,
right?
if you
Like
want
a
an
graphics
OLED, it's still
card.
350.
Well, yeah, which again seems ridiculous that it doesn't have a significant performance increase. It's just a different screen, right? Of course, good screens are expensive. I get that,
I mean, if you
but
have the OG Switch, as I do, you are getting a battery upgrade because there was
yeah.
that like middle SKU number that had like double the battery or something, and then the OLED automatically has that too.
But it needs that to run that screen too, I would
Honestly,
assume. So
yeah.
how does the battery life, really end end up.
Yeah. But no, it's I don't know. I've long since put my Switch down as the like anything that I think is going to be remotely graphically intensive. I'd rather just play on a screen. I'm not going to bother with like 20 frame rate, like 15 to 20 frame rate dips. I don't want
Yeah,
that. I'd rather or like super low resolution to have a smooth frame rate. I'd rather play it on a PlayStation or my computer, and not deal with that.
right.
But here we are. Zelda's actually gonna be the first time I played my Switch in like 6 months, I
Crazy.
think. Well, I've had that handheld, and that's kind of been my handheld go-to.
Right.
And Animal Crossing won't let me change my goddamn name,
That's
so I just can't play that.
really stupid. Nintendo.
Really
You
stupid.
should probably do something about that.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah. Um. I mean, especially in just today's environment, like it seems like a no-brainer to me. But
They're always slow in the uptake with that.
yeah, of course.
But anyway,
Uh,
oh, go ahead.
no, I got nothing actually.
All right. All right, people, we got nothing. So thanks.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. I mean, I guess you didn't beat Star Wars yet, so I don't
Let's
know.
talk let's talk about Jedi Survivor. You've beaten it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to. I'm gonna say nothing past the second time you return to Kobo, when Marin comes back with you, and you're looking for
Yeah,
the
right.
robot Z. That's where I am.
That's where you are.
Yeah, and
I
so
mean, I
I'll.
can't even like talk about any of the stuff I plan to talk about now, about like I
No,
guess the story. There might be some spoilers here.
we're just
I
gonna.
ju-
Well, yeah, I'll say spoilers up until that point. So light spoilers for the first like 30 or so hours of this game, I guess.
yeah,
Um, I'll preface by saying this is where I think I misread the game, and that's the problem here, is that I really was treating this the way I treat stuff like Elden Ring or, you know, Ghost of Tsushima or something, where as soon as something allows me to explore it, I'm going to explore it as much as I possibly can.
right,
I very slowly realized that this is this game is not set up for that mode of play, because you constantly backtracking whenever a green path opens up is just going to waste your time and elongate everything, because either you're going to eventually go to that place anyway, or there's another locked door behind that unlocked
yeah,
door.
yeah,
And I think that's kind of I don't know, I think that's kind of a bad design choice in a lot of senses. Like putting a locked door directly behind, like getting an ability that allows you to say warp through these green laser doors. It's great for certain things, but there's a lot of instances of where you'll warp through that green door and then all of a sudden there's this contraption that you don't know you can't access yet. And so it's like I went and backtracked and did all this stuff for absolutely nothing. Now I just have to come back later. And yeah, that's a really slow way to play that game. And that's why I'm not that far in it, because I have played a lot.
yeah. No, and I think the problem is it's done almost every time, or at least every other time. You
Hmm.
literally unlock something, right? You go there, and then there's another thing to be unlocked. It's literally like almost better, to just wait and maybe towards like the end of the game where you get everything and then
That's what
go
I'm
through.
saying. Yeah.
I mean, the game is like cosmetics or whatever, but yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. Or you'll go to an area, and I guess it makes sense because it's like go to an area, it kind of opens up like a little mini area, right? You might be able to get one thing there, but there's two other things that you can't get to, right?
Right. And yeah. And so what you did was you backtracked for one thing when you could have waited like another
Yeah,
5 hours and backtracked
yeah,
for three things. And it's like now you're going to this place twice and it's kind of pointless.
yeah.
And yeah. And that, I guess where I'm at now, I get it, but such a weird way to design that. And so I just got the force ability, the lift and smash abilities.
Right. Oh,
And I
yeah.
was like, it took a really long time to unlock this in this game.
Yeah, it
Where
really did.
you're telling me Cal forgot he could do that?
Yeah.
He's like, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't. Um, that's like another thing. It's like again, just combat wise. I mean, the game's fun. It's great. But I still wish there was maybe a little bit more there. I don't know.
For like the lightsaber combat,
Lightsaber combat, maybe just something
some
else with
force
the
powers.
force. I don't
I
know.
100% feel that on the lightsaber combat. I feel myself looking for like a different combo style, like,
It's very one dimensional.
yeah, maybe just some like square, square, triangle, square action or something would.
For a game that doesn't have like a parry system like Wolong, right?
Hmm.
That just feels great every single time you parry. Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like
it
half the
needs
time.
more. Yeah.
Yeah. No, because sometimes I'll parry and it'll just completely miss, and I'm like, well, that doesn't seem fair.
Yeah.
Um, I will say I've gotten a lot better with the um, I will say I've gotten a lot better with the pistol style.
Right.
I don't know. I just like I feel like it's a little tricky at first, but it just becomes more and more intuitive as you move on. And especially some of the upgraded laser shots that you can do. Like uh, I was using the stun for a while, and now I'm using the
Right.
one that like ricochet or bounces off or hits people nearby. It's like an AOE explosion.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. The stun does not last nearly long enough. I mean, I guess it allows you to get like a hit in. Um,
Yeah, and if you have like three, or if you have like big stuff or three people, it can, stun all of them, and that's pretty cool. Um, I will say though, I've been using the mind trick one a lot. Like I just kind of chased that upgrade part of the upgrade tree. And so I've just been, anytime I go into a room with multiple beasts, I'm just like, now you fight for me.
yeah,
That's pretty effective.
it is. I think the game definitely is kind of balanced around you using that a lot of the
Hmm.
times because obviously they throw a lot of enemies at you at once, right? So you're literally supposed to take control of one of them, I guess.
Yeah, being swarmed in this game is weird. Um, if you have
It is.
like seven enemies on you, it's like, okay, there's only one thing to do in this situation is to get out and like force blast everybody back because I can't even react fast enough to what's going on here.
Yeah, or just hold block. That's right. There
Yeah,
you go. I
but I don't have a lot of block defense because I'm back to using the dual swords.
oh yeah.
It was like dual swords and
I did really miss those towards the end, but yeah, I mean, if you have the sword guard
oh,
lightsaber,
the
that thing
crossbow one,
actually
yeah.
has like a lot of block, like a
I'm
lot.
sure, yeah. Yeah, I told myself I'm like either I'll pick that one up as like my alternate once I've because you do get a lot of upgrade points in this game. I was like, but I'm still just too into the dual swords to drop that for now. And it's a good system, I think, with that and the pistol. I've come around to it more, especially as I've gotten better with that counter attack.
Yeah. No, I really did miss the dual sabers. I kind of wanted to go back, but I was like, at this point, screw it.
Yeah, man.
But still, the sword guard's really fun. Yeah, I don't know. I was left wanting more on maybe the customi customability, customization
Mm-hmm.
on I did it. Uh
Yay.
Yay. on the um on the combat side of things.
Yeah, I
I don't
agree.
know. Cosmetics are cool. They are really cool. I like being able to make Cal, your Cal, but uh, when it's just you get a point, you just slap it anywhere on any one of those trees. It doesn't really matter, right? By the end of the game, I was using you can buy from Z. a rune that just gives you bonus experience. I left that
I
on the
have that one.
entire game. Yeah, I by
Yeah.
the end of it, I finished off 2 trees for the weapons, all the
Hmm.
force stuff, all the survivor stuff, and I was working my way towards like a third lightsaber tree. So
It's kind of my plan. Is I
yeah.
I have I think one skill left in the dual swords tree, and then I'm gonna pick a third weapon and just swap in
Yeah.
and out. Um,
So
yeah,
it is
I got my blaster
arbitrary.
shots really strong from that other. I do like the rune system. Like I can walk in a room and one shot like a was it what is it a combat stormtrooper that class like it's a little bit above the weakest, so it's like I can just
Yeah.
come in dead.
I'd like when I first saw the rune system, I was like, cool, this is actually, what I was maybe waiting for a little bit, something to just diversify how I play
Yeah,
as opposed to the next guy, right? Especially with these different lightsabers and stuff. And a little bit of it's there, right? Like you can definitely spec more into like the pistols and stuff, and hey, that's really cool. That maybe they need more of that. I really think like, and hear me out, they should have made runes like drops off of enemies. So
that would
there's
be
a reason
cool.
for me to kill them, right? We're not dealing with like a loot fest or anything like that. We're just
No,
where we can farm like different runes and stuff, or different tiers of runes. That would have been great. Would have been perfect.
I mean, Ghost of Tsushima did it pretty well where you were finding them, but like there's so many of them that you really feel like you can customize and you have percentages instead of just, okay, this one makes your blaster shot stronger. How much stronger? Like, are we talking point 0.5 damage? Are we talking double? I don't know. In Ghost, it tells you like percentage wise how much it's adding to each of these skills. Like when you use um, ghost weapons, it's 30% stronger, and by the end of the game, you are really like noticing the effects of those runes or whatever they're called,
Charms, yeah.
charms. Yeah, exactly. I agree. And they start you off with 3 rune slots, which is good for one thing,
One
and
thing,
I'm at 7 now, and they are not like it takes a long time for you to find more, and I had to buy one,
right?
um, and it was pretty expensive. And so it's like, yeah, it takes a while for you to get that. Just like it takes a while for you to get a lot of these movement abilities, like the the midair dash, which holy shit, I'm not saying from the beginning of the game, but I really could have used that earlier. Just from
Yeah,
a
same.
combat point. I use it all. It's so much easier to dodge these like big red attacks when you can jump in the air and just dash away or dash through someone.
Yeah,
But I mean,
yeah. Good luck. Good luck killing the spawn of whatever and the little frog thing
oh my
without that.
god, those
Yeah.
things suck.
Oh, by the way, after you kill it, if you go back to I'm forgetting the names, but the
Oh, in the shop, yeah,
yeah, in the shop, you
you can fight
have
both
to
of them
fight
at the same time.
just at the same time. I was just like, you know, for like what's probably a skill point that I really don't fucking need at all. I'm not gonna do this at the moment.
It's
I'll come
so
back to
hard. It's like
yeah,
one shot city, and not only do they like one or two shot you, they are the most busted enemies in the game. It's like they took it. Odogo or whatever it was already the most busted enemy in the first game. Like
yeah,
his hitboxes were just stupid. They didn't change that at all. It's
no,
still really, really tough. And now there's 2 of
yeah,
them.
yeah. Now there's 2 of them. Yeah, it's great. And
This is
I like literally don't even. Now that I think about it, I don't even know why you get skill points from fighting shit and skill points from like collectibles.
just like finding them. I
Yeah,
think it's because they
it's
put room for too many
boring.
skill points and they needed you to get them faster.
I guess so,
But
right?
maybe it was a balancing issue. Like when they gave you more experience, it didn't make the I don't know.
Yeah,
Because I told you that I thought the Dark Soulsy part of it was unnecessary. I just didn't
yeah.
think it I still don't think it adds much to the game. I think
I would
one
have
time I was like, shit.
preferred. I would have preferred skill points on like just a collectible at that point, right? Like give me
Yeah,
a certain amount of skill points that I have to like find all the collectibles for. I think I
yeah,
kind of like that a little bit more. I, and I don't know, but then I literally think they kept the experience thing in the game so you have a reason to kill enemies. Again, make them drop runes, put the
yeah,
skill points in collectibles, get rid of the experience from killing people. Bam, done.
yeah. Because I mean, aside from the fact that I like fighting things with a lightsaber, that is the main reason I stop when I see a
Well,
big
yeah,
patrol running by or something. I mean, yeah, you. But how much? Yeah, that's definitely an effort to keep you fighting things in the overworld.
yeah.
This is going to be nitpicky, but
I think
what
we
did
are.
they what did they do to the Imperial AT whatever? They're not walkers because those are the big ones from Hoth. Um the ATSTs, like the two-legged
Yeah,
Imperial.
yeah.
So in the first game, it was a very like methodical way that you fought those. You would deflect their blasts, you would push their bombs back at them,
Right.
and then you pick their bombs up and throw it back, and then you push the rockets away. You can't do any of that anymore.
You just go up and smash its foot till it dies, or used
Yeah,
to.
and okay, they made them
You know.
harder
Yeah.
because they took away your ability. It's like every other enemy that throws a grenade on the ground, I can push it back at them. For some
They
reason,
use stun grenades now. I don't know.
it just feels awkward. And the
I don't
missile
like
it
fighting them.
shoots,
Yeah.
no, the missile it shoots, you can't push back. Why? You can push
Yeah.
other people's missiles back. It's because of the arc. Okay, yeah,
And
I
it
forgot.
does an unblockable, which actually I find in general just pushing back any missile in the game to be like buggy half the time. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't
Sometimes
you
it'll.
know
There was a couple times where I pushed the missile back, and your companion, whoever it is at the time, most of the time Bode, because he's always flying, just
yeah.
goes right in front of it and just blows up in both of your faces, and you're like, okay,
All right, that's
that's
fine.
cool. And you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't get that. It seemed like such a weird choice to make that combat less fluid. And yeah, you're just poking at its feet until it falls down and dies.
It is weird.
I
It's
do still
very
appreciate
weird.
that
I
the
don't know.
pilot leaves.
Yeah, I mean
And
that's
he's
cool.
just like, "Ugh, I
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't paid for this. Ugh."
Yeah.
I like cutting its head off as it comes out of the thing. It's like, "Nyah."
Man, you should have stayed in there, dummy.
Really? I would have left you alone, maybe.
Yeah,
Um, they should have had a bolt caster class. How cool would that be?
that would have been
To
super
just
cool.
sling a gigantic laser beam through like a one of those Yetis, and it just
That would have been super cool. But
yeah,
hey, I don't know. I guess then you're getting to a different type of game architects. Sure. I
yeah.
don't know.
I still
Would like to
love
see a
it.
different thing.
It's just I've found more nitpicky things coming up as I've played. It's just
Yeah.
like okay, come on,
Yeah, I mean, again, I enjoyed it to the very end.
Mm-hmm.
For everything I have to say about the combat and how I kind of just want more. And I think they could have done better in certain areas. Like I had fun and was still sitting there killing shit just to kill shit
Mm-hmm.
to the very end. Um, well, I mean, what do you think of the story so far?
I feel like, and this is again contributed by my playstyle, I guess. I put it also put too much space between the narrative beats. And so now that I'm a little more, streamlining the way I'm
Yeah,
playing, I'm more invested in the story. Um, I'm very much here for the love interest. I think that's awesome. I mean,
yeah,
who
yeah,
doesn't
it's
want
great.
spoilers? But we already said that up front. Thank you for finally giving us a space goth witch girlfriend. That's
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know why it took this long.
yeah.
Yennefer was close in The Witcher 3, but she's
She
not from
was.
space. She's not an
No,
alien.
no. She's mage, right?
Why are you so afraid to ship main characters with aliens, you cowards?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm
It's
all
not
for it,
weird.
right?
Could you
Yeah,
imagine? I like that in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Is like Peter Quill is just totally into like orange and blue and green space women. It's just like, yeah, no, if you were traveling space all the time, why would you find like the one white human and be like, all right, I guess we
yeah,
have
no,
to get together?
no. We're nailing space chicks or dudes, whatever you're into, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like,
but
come on.
yeah, I mean, there hasn't been a romance that good since what? Oh my God, the only other space game where there's
Mass
romances.
Effect?
Yeah, there you go.
And that depends on who you went with.
That does depend. I mean, if anybody, like, especially in the third one, goes for the human chick, what is wrong with you?
What is wrong? You're racist. You're spacist.
Wait,
You're space racist.
it's obviously always the chick that can't take off her helmet.
Oh, the Asari? No, not the Asari. The Quul. I think it's a
I don't
Q.
remember. Yeah, but that one
I have to know now.
or the bald psycho chick because I have issues.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say it. Or the Solarian, because
Yeah.
suction cup fingers. I don't know.
Well, I wasn't into it before, but now
Now that you've brought up suction cup fingers, Turians. Yeah, let's be
you've
real. We're all
you've
going Turian.
you've piqued my interest.
Mm. Um. So I guess I'm still waiting on Cal to show me something a little more, two note. I feel like in the first game, it was very much about he was a kid when this all started, and they do make a good point of bringing up those themes, and so I'm feeling pretty confident about how it's going to play out from here. But like, he was a kid when it started, and he witnessed tragedy after tragedy, and he kind of
Right.
just became this zealot of like, I have to hide, but I have to, save people. And then he developed this like rampant savior complex where he's like, I have to stop the entire empire. So I really want them to go into that. But right now, he just kind of seems like this really beaten down person. And I wish that was accompanied more with like questioning his faith or like the Jedi religion.
Right.
Um, because I am always really into Star Wars stories where they question the typical, elements going on. It's like, all right, there's a reason why the Jedi Order failed. There's a reason why a lot of Jedi are so like they say like, oh, cis stealing absolutes, but it's like y'all bastards just stick to this one code and anything outside of it is heresy, and then that leads to you getting dicked over. So like
Right.
I want to see him come out more with maybe that kind of character arc. Um
And you'll be disappointed, right?
Yay!
No, I feel like if there is one thing, I guess all the elements together make it a great game. It is like we said last episode, like it feels like Star Wars fan service, and then all
Hmm.
that's really great. And the story, like the main story, is good enough. As far as like Cal's sort of character development throughout the whole thing, he honestly kind of like teeters on that, right? Like
Yeah.
he. I don't want to spoil too much for you, but he kind of like dips his toe into the dark side, right? And then
Hmm.
takes it back out, and then dips his toe into the dark side, and then takes it back out. And there's really no consequence whatsoever for him
That's
doing
weird.
so.
Yeah,
Like it
that's
literally
super weird.
doesn't go. there doesn't seem like there's a big like aha moment for him. You know,
Oh, okay.
it's just. I mean, maybe they just left it open, but it's like it's literally. You know, obviously he starts losing his shit. Right, he gets really mad and pissed off. Like fair.
Yeah.
You know, and it's I guess believable, right? You feel for him, so you don't like blame him for just wanting to murder everybody, but you know it's kind of like he doesn't go over the edge, or he doesn't seem to get like perfect clarity. Maybe when he
Mm,
does, it doesn't it's not really like stated, right? It's just kind of like no, I won't kill him. I guess I'm a good Jedi again, right?
yeah, and I
Nah, I'm
want
gonna kill him.
I want that
But I
gray
won't.
area. I
Right?
just that's all I want is that gray area, and it. I think maybe the reason that we don't get that is a lot of because when you divert from the Star Wars formula, a lot of the fan base gets really shitty about it. I mean, The Last Jedi is still one of my favorite Star Wars movies, and it every time I utter that sentence, someone else is like, "No." They're like, "It's actually the worst, and here's why." And and it's like, what do you want? You want A New Hope recreated over and over and over again. That movie actually called into question all the fundamental beliefs that were stated previously, and I feel like it really taps into like some of the good side stories that we never see on film. And we finally
Yeah.
saw one, and it was ruined because people hated it, and then the trilogy had to be finished with the most limp freaking Star Wars finale I've ever seen. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it because it was Star Wars, but holy crap.
Yeah. That's all a lot of this is. We enjoy it because it's Star Wars, but I mean, it is definitely a series that the the medium that can break away from its roots. I
Hmm.
think is way more interesting, right? Because I
Hmm.
mean, we're talking about a movie that was from the 80s, right? When was
Yeah.
Star Wars originally made? Was it 70s or 80s?
72. Wait, no. Star Wars New Hope. Was it was 77. So 77, 79, 81.
Yeah. So, I mean, for its time, amazing, right? It has a very good foundation on this universe that obviously is amazing. That's why it's been around for this long, right? And it will continue to be around for God knows how long. I think that we'll always just keep making Star Wars stuff, right?
I
Because it's
think it'll
something that
replace the Bible in
each,
like 500
yeah,
years.
and I'll be fine with that, right? I mean that makes sense. I but it is definitely held back by those constraints of
Hmm.
someone who definitely had no idea that it would ever get like as big as it did. You know,
Yeah,
it didn't
because
really expect it to be like all
a
of this.
phenomenon.
Yeah, to
No, I
where
mean,
to where we
yeah.
want more content with like way more depth. You know,
Yeah. No, I mean like the age old story is they made A New Hope. It wasn't A New Hope, it was just Star Wars.
right?
And there was a conclusion because who knows if this is going to continue. And yeah, and I feel like obviously it has the staying power to explore a little bit, but every time they explore, people get freaking rabid about it. And it's like, do you not want nuance in your storytelling? Do you not want interesting things to happen and character growth? Why didn't we get to
Yeah.
see Luke go down a dark path and literally almost kill one of his subordinates because, you know, he was paranoid?
Yeah, I like immediately seeing any of that stuff in the movie, right? I
Hmm.
wanted more. I wanted that story, right? I wanted to see all the different apprentices of Luke, right? And figure out, I mean, I would assume maybe that's in a book or a comic somewhere. I don't
Yeah, and,
know.
then, and those are all deplatformed because it's no longer in the canon after Disney took over. And it's like, this is why we can't have cool shit. Just
Yeah.
let us have cool shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Just let us have cool shit. Like I want cool shit. it's just like, you know, General Grievous in Clone Wars, the animation
Mm-hmm.
before the movies.
Cool.
Ridiculously cool. Badass. Super excited to see him in the movie. Too cool.
Yeah.
Make him weak and useless.
Yeah, no,
Right?
let's make him sound like a radiator from an old New York apartment. And then Obi-Wan's gonna take him out in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
And you
Right.
know, maybe there's some backstory there, but they certainly didn't say anything about it, right?
Yeah. I feel like the one
Because the animation was able to push the limits, right?
yeah,
And the movie just can't.
no. And then you look at the new ones and God, we are really talking about Star Wars fandom right now. What have we done?
Right.
This is such a bad
I
idea.
so yeah, a lot of people are gonna
I'm gonna
absolutely
do
hate
it.
us.
I'm saying it anyway. The new trilogy, every movie like introduces something really interesting and cool with, like I personally like Rey as a protagonist. I think she's great, and I think most of the people that hate her are they just hate seeing girls do anything. They think they think they're incapable of doing anything. So the terms Mary Sue comes out, but whatever. Um, but I do think they wasted Finn. Um, you know,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
why couldn't he have been like an understudy and
Yeah, I
backed her up, and we could have give more people lightsabers. Give 100 people lightsabers. I don't care.
yeah, I was like super excited. I think everybody was excited when he like picked up the lightsaber in the movies, right?
Yeah.
It didn't he at one point in time? Yeah, and then he just didn't really use it, you know?
Well,
Uh
he backtracked into like you know, a side character role where he was doing subterfuge and running around and using a blaster,
yeah.
but he didn't really come back to that warrior place again. And I think that would have been cool if in between the movies he was trained up a little bit and started to show some abilities with the force.
Yeah. It would have
Um,
been cool.
and
Um,
then, I really like the thought of Rey just being a nobody. And I thought that was way more inventive than, oh, she's got to be related to somebody. Who are her parents?
it's the Emperor.
Face is the size of a
And
town in
the Emperor's
Ohio.
still alive, right?
Jesus, that was the most ridiculous. I was watching that and I was like, I'm enjoying this movie, but that is the dumbest thing I have ever seen.
I mean, the only thing was, the whole, romantic entanglement between, uh, uh,
Oh, Ray and Kylo.
yeah, that was like its saving grace, in my opinion, right? And
I
that was cool, right? Because I mean, again, that is another instance where they're kind of pushing the limits of what's possible with the Force, and showing
Mhm.
you something different. Like these two together, they're I mean, it's a little ridiculous, but together because they're like perfectly matched or whatever with the Force can do some
They kind of
crazy
have
ass
like
shit.
they had a lot of equilibrium going
Yeah.
on throughout that, where she always understood. One second. She always understood to a level where he was, and
Yeah, they're
he kind of
connected by the Force, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, but
Um,
whatever.
or when Luke uses the Force to like project himself galaxies away,
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and everybody loved that shit, right?
Well, there's a group of people that hate that shit.
Well, they can. I don't know. They can die on their hill if they want
Look,
to.
everybody figured out in the 80s exactly how the Force works. And anytime someone says something different, they get super pissed off.
Now lightsabers. Yeah, don't do that whole like we're gonna flip around and do all this crazy like flippity flip shit. No, that should be more pure, right? Just
They did
give me the
they
the stances and the just the methodical like
yeah.
movements.
They did a better job of that in the new trilogy.
Yeah.
The prequels were
God, just
they were
garbage.
just
Right.
dancing.
Yeah.
which is
garbage.
literally dancing.
That was literally that's like, as a child, I was like, I hate this.
There's
I don't like this.
that
Right?
infamous scene when in Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan and Anakin are fighting and they just stop fighting. They stand 3 feet away from each other and they twirl their lightsabers around each other, never colliding for like 4 or 5 seconds. And it's like,
I
what?
hate it. I don't know.
That
I
looked
don't.
like a scene from like Blocking where they were just like, hey, y'all just hang out. And they're like, okay, let's try our new trick. Like, wait, what was that?
Yeah, I don't know how they go from like um Phantom Menace, right?
Hmm.
That was a good fight from what I can remember. I don't remember
Yeah,
it
yeah,
being like too all over the place. It
yeah.
was, two Jedi fighting one Sith. It was just well choreographed and it was much simpler, right? How it kind of should be.
Yeah.
And then they just decided to get like flashier and flashier. I
Hmm.
don't know why.
I will say there are a few scenes in Attack of the Clones, like not the Yoda one, because I think that one's just, it looks like someone wound up a toy and started off, and that's just Yoda flipping all over the place.
Yeah.
But like Anakin and Dooku have a couple of really cool. I watched this series on YouTube recently. That is IGN features it, but it's a real weapons trainer, like medieval weapons trainer, and he watches it and breaks down the scenes and how they're fighting and if it's a valid, and he has a field day with all the twirly whirlies, but there are a few moments where they exhibit actual combat understanding, and it's interesting.
I think you have a new catchphrase. Twirly whirlies.
Twirly whirlies.
Twirly whirlies.
Welcome back to the Nerding Grounds podcast where we twirly whirlies.
Twirly whirlies!
Oh, we're not even talking about the game anymore. We just went off on a.
No, we went on. Well, you bring up Star Wars. We're gonna bring up Star Wars.
This is now a Star Wars podcast. I would never do
Apparently.
that to either of us.
Yeah, no.
We can talk about Star Wars sometimes.
But it was good. I'm glad I got that off my chest, you know?
It's really been dragging you down all week.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I needed people to know where I stand on lightsaber battles, right?
Apparently, well,
Or
you.
get ridiculous. Lightsabers, keep it simple. You can do a little bit of flair, right? There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that, especially with the cool shit with the Force. But no,
Yeah.
just don't do
Yeah.
Anakin, fucking doing like triple flips and any of the shit that goes on in those entire 3 movies.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. The people that get up in arms about what the Force can and can't do absolutely drive me. I'm like, it's fucking space magic. How are
Yeah,
you gonna sit here and say, oh, you can't bring somebody back to life? Why? It's
yeah.
space
Well,
magic.
it's space magic where it's already canon that someone could basically live on forever as a spirit.
It made this Toad Man disappear in his bassinet. Wow.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's just a matter of reforming their body at that point, right?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
seems very possible. You take all the metachlorian, which is kind of dumb, and you form it all together into a body. There you go.
His metachlorian count is off the charts.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've
Space
never
debris.
seen a metachlorian count so high.
Yeah, I'm glad they stopped saying that shit so much.
Yeah, that stayed. I think they stopped in like Attack of the Clones or something. I don't even think they brought that shit into Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, if they could like just retcon that, that'd be great.
Yeah. Also, while we're here, can we talk about how Anakin was lifted out of a pit of lava with no limbs and perfectly brought back to like, he was fine, he was saved, he was made half robot, and
Yeah,
like Padme died in a high-tech space facility from a broken heart.
yeah.
I hate
No,
that.
we're not gonna we're not gonna talk about that. Actually, we're never gonna mention that again.
I think I'd prefer if like they got the babies out of the room and then like a spaceship collided into the delivery room. It's like
They literally could just said she
no
died
one could
from
have seen it.
childbirth, you know? Like
Yeah.
the Force babies were just way too strong, you
Oh,
know?
I have a
Just
Anakin.
really did a number, you know?
Anakin broke my heart.
Yeah, no, she
Yeah,
died from
Leia was fine, but when Luke came out, it really tore from her V to her head.
why? Why? Why would you
Um,
why would you go that far?
I'm just trying to get our ratings up.
Ah,
Here we go. So
I'm
the game.
crying because I'm
Yeah,
really upset that she died from heartbreak. But you know,
we all are.
uh,
We might go the same way. I hope to have this game completed next week because also I don't know how long I'll be able to ignore Zelda. That just seems irresponsible.
yeah, I mean, we have a podcast to think about. I
Yeah.
was literally thinking like I don't have time to play this game, right? Like there's a couple things that I'm still kind of working on and want to play,
Yeah.
but
You're gonna. It's Zelda.
we have a podcast.
Yeah. And I'm just so curious about this game and how it's going to break out of the Breath of the Wild mold or how much it's going to stay in that mold. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's the weirdest thing too. I feel like we know nothing about the game really.
They're focusing so much on the new abilities and what those are going to bring to the table. Like, but the new abilities seem very, I don't know. Like, the first one, you have magnetization, you have stop, you have ice or something. They all seemed very much basic enough to where you could do a number of things with them. Like your imagination could go wild.
But yeah, apparently a crazy amount of stuff. But yeah,
How does your imagination go wild with I can go through the ceiling to the next floor? I guarantee people are going to do it. I don't know what that means.
yeah. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what the kooky brains of YouTube can concoct, right?
Yeah.
Um, which is probably some crazy stuff. But yeah, I mean, it seems more traditional, right? Like you got this thing to do this type of puzzle.
Right, right.
Where Breath of the Wild was actually more like, yeah, or you could just maybe make something up and
Yeah.
get it done this way, right?
Here
Which is
here's
nuts.
freeze this, hit it a bunch of times, stand on it. It's going to launch you where you need to go instead of you doing this entire puzzle. It's like, yeah, you
Yeah,
really can figure out whatever you want. Like, I'm going to ride a tree trunk to Ganon's castle because
that shit's crazy.
why not?
Yeah,
And it seems like they added a bunch of stuff that they're like, okay, Breath of the Wild's awesome. Here's all this crazy shit we invented in this engine. Now we get to have, so I think I still am very confident it's going to be a lot of fun. But I would love some real temples, and I would love for the building system
yeah,
to be complex enough to create cool stuff, but not too complex that that turns into the game. Like,
yeah. I would also really like to see like what's the equipment like, right? You
mhm.
know, what are we even looking at there? I have no idea if we're still dealing with breaking weapons.
So there is going to be item durability but
That
I imagine there will be like a Master Sword and a Hylian Shield that are permanent. I hope they include more permanent items.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. Right? And then am I getting the same stuff that I was getting last game? I don't know if I'm down for that again, but
Yeah.
that seems so odd that they would keep any of that around. I don't understand.
I would deal with weapon durability if I had the ability to fix broken items. If I could just take
Yeah,
it
really.
somewhere and
Yeah,
just like
really.
throw everything at a vendor and be like, all right, 80 gold or 80 rupees, all fixed. And now I get to
Yeah.
use them until they break. And it's like, okay, I'm going to save my trident because this specific type of enemy I require more reach, and so I won't use my trident until I get there, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that to me that's closer to how I. 'Cause I really don't mind durability. I just don't like the type
I don't
of
like losing it.
Yeah, I don't like the
Yeah.
type of durability where it's like it's just gone. It just broke and it's disappeared. It feels like a burnable item.
Yeah. And that's what it's supposed to be, right? But
Yeah.
I don't really like it. I don't know anybody that really did. So I don't understand why they're just if they haven't changed anything. Also, the game comes out in 2 days. How do I not know this definitively?
I know.
What's that like? Like, who the fuck launches a goddamn game and doesn't say anything about it?
I mean, they've had a few gameplay previews, but yeah, again, a lot of them have been, here's the new. I don't know, from a broader. I'm sure we could find it if we really, but
I guess so.
I've
Yeah.
also been trying to just wait for it to come out, I guess, which
Me too.
I don't know.
Maybe I just didn't research it enough, but I don't know. I feel like
They
this would have came up.
they
You
know
know,
people are gonna buy
I
it.
can't I can't be the only one who's concerned about how equipment durability is going to play out in this new one, right? So like
No.
how hasn't there at least been another article shown in my face, somebody talking about it? But
Well, that's the thing is now you could probably get all those answers in the next hour because of
yeah,
the
I mean,
leaked footage that's going
yeah.
around, but I'm not gonna
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just wait. I'm
perpetuate
gonna
that.
play it anyway. I mean, that was just like it was a big gripe for me in the first one, right? But it literally didn't change me playing the game or liking it even a little bit.
No, there was still so much there. And I would get over it
Yeah,
because I beat the entire first game. Um, but yeah, I really would like, I don't know. I would hope that certain issues were ironed out.
me too.
But yeah, like you said, 2 days, that's insane.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I really can't.
We're gonna have so much to talk about.
So much.
I'm gonna have to beat Jedi Survivor in 2 days.
That's easy, actually. It's not that long of a game.
And
Though
Jedi
when you
Survivor
think it's
already
about to end, it kind of goes on for a little bit longer. But hey,
Jedi Survivor already messed up my goal to finally beat BioShock. But I am at the end of that game, so I just have to go back.
I'm like I'm this close to beating Metroid Prime.
Oh, right. I
Yeah,
forgot you had that.
yeah, because I kind of stopped that for a little bit. Started playing a little bit. I was like, yeah, literally at like the end. I needed to beat this game.
Nice. Well, I think that's gonna about do it for today. Talked a lot about our um, feelings of the upcoming Zelda in 2 days. Yay! Went back over Star Wars. Hopefully by next week I'll have beaten it and I can give my final spoiler full impressions on the whole thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
hmm
We
But
will
thanks.
see.
We will see. Thanks everyone for listening. Please tell your friends, get them to sub. We're on Spotify, all the places you listen to your podcasts. And this one should be going up on YouTube. I know I might have said that last week, but I lied. And we just
I
didn't.
screwed up a little bit, it's fine. It was on me.
These things take time and trial and error.
It's true.
So
It's
we have
true.
a very, you know, mismatched uh, option for recording video here. We're kind of just doing it how the best we can for now.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But thanks everyone. Have a great week/weekend and be nice.
Bye.
Bye.